Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something many of us rely on daily, the global coffee and tea makers market. Seriously, think about your morning routine, right? That first cup, or maybe an afternoon tea. These little machines are, well, pretty essential. So our mission here is to unpack the growth predicted for this whole sector. We're using insights, real data, from a report by Cognitive Market Research. It's called Global Coffee and Tea Makers Market, Growth Projections to 2033. We're looking at the actual numbers that are shaping, the future of how you get your caffeine fix. Okay, let's hit the big numbers right away. Globally, this market pulled in about $13.7 billion dollars back in 2021. It's expected to jump to over $16.5 billion dollars by 2025, and then, get this, reach more $24.2 billion dollars by 2033. That's a steady growth rate, the CAGR, of nearly 5%, almost 4.9% actually. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, those are significant figures. They really highlight how central these appliances have become. It's not just about liking coffee or tea anymore. It's about the convenience, the quality at home, this steady growth, over a decade. It tells you people are really investing in that homebrew experience.
Right, that makes total sense. Investing in the ritual. And while the global view is big, the regional differences are often where it gets, well, really interesting. You see how different habits, different economies play out. Let's start with Europe. It seems like they showed some particularly strong growth.
Oh, absolutely. Europe is a really robust market here. Overall revenue started north of $4.8 billion in 2021. And the projection, over $8.2 billion by 2033. So even in a mature market, that's some serious growth.
Wow.
Yeah. And look at Germany. It's a powerhouse. Under a
Yeah.
billion in 21, heading towards over $1.7 billion by 33.
Almost double.
Exactly. It suggests, maybe more high-end machines, people getting serious about their home coffee. The U.S. is similar, growing from around $788 million to almost $1.4 billion.
Yeah.
And then you've got solid numbers from France, Italy, Spain, all showing healthy upward trends. Seems Europeans are definitely upgrading their brewers.
So a really established but still growing
Yeah.
market there. Okay, let's shift gears. What about Asia Pacific? We always hear about it being a growth engine. Does the data back that up? Here's where it gets really interesting.
It really does. APAC is definitely on strong growth path. It's projected to basically double from, $3.6 billion in 2021 to over $7 billion by 2033.
Huge numbers.
Massive. And China is, dominant, expected to hit almost $2 billion itself by 2033. You see that rapid urbanization effect, rising incomes.
Yeah.
But India is the one the report flags for significant acceleration. It's set to more than double its market size.
Wow.
Yeah, from about $533 million to over $1.1 billion. That's a huge surge, suggesting, a whole new wave of consumers adopting these makers.
That's incredible growth.
It is. And then you have Japan, South Korea also showing strong growth. It's that mix of traditional tea culture meeting modern coffee trends.
Yeah.
Plus Australia, Singapore, Southeast Asia, Taiwan, they're all contributing. It really shows how changing lifestyles and economic growth fuel this market.
That APAC story, especially China and India, is really something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's head over to North America. The report calls it a steady sip of growth. What's happening there?
Yeah, steady sip is a good way to put it. It's consistent growth, not quite the explosion we see in Asia, but definitely solid. The region started just under $3 billion in 2021, and it's projected to reach almost $4.7 billion by 2033.
Okay.
The U.S. is, of course, the main player, moving from around $2.3 billion up to over $3.7 billion. In a mature market like that, it points towards, people replacing older machines, maybe upgrading to fancier ones, and just that continued demand for convenience.
Makes sense. The upgrade cycle.
Exactly. And Canada and Mexico are showing steady increases too, mirroring that overall trend. Maybe more work from home plays a part too, wanting that good coffee without leaving the house.
Good point. That convenience factor seems key everywhere.
All
Okay,
right.
let's go south now. South America also showing solid growth, right? What are the drivers?
Yep, South America is solid, projected to grow from just over $1.2 billion in 2021 to over $2.2 billion by 2033.
So nearly doubling as well.
Pretty much. And Brazil, being such a huge coffee producer and consumer, leads the way there, set to hit almost $900 million. It shows it's not just about producing coffee, but also about embracing the home brewing tech.
Right.
Argentina is also showing strong growth, nearly doubling its market size too. And then you have Colombia, Peru, Chile adding to that growth. It seems like a broad shift across the region towards these modern appliances for daily coffee and tea.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, two more regions. Let's cross over to the Middle East. What's the picture there?
The Middle East market is showing healthy, consistent growth. It was just under $740 million in 2021, and it's projected to reach over $1.3 billion by 2033.
Okay, so steady growth there too.
Definitely. The leaders are Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE, all expected to see quite substantial increases. It suggests, an interesting mix. You've got traditional tea culture strong in places like Turkey, but also a growing coffee scene, especially maybe in the Gulf states.
Right.
And things like modern stores, online shopping just make these machines more available to people.
Good point. All right, let's wrap up the regions with Africa. How does that market look? Smallest revenue, but what's the trend?
Africa, yeah, it starts from a smaller base, but the potential is definitely there. It was just over $410 million in 2021, projected to increase to nearly $741 million by 2033. That's still pretty significant growth.
Getting close to doubling too.
Exactly. It really highlights that as economies develop, as incomes rise, people start adopting these kinds of appliances. South Africa is leading, projected to almost double its market. Nigeria also shows strong growth potential. If we connect this to the bigger picture, seeing this kind of adoption, even from a lower starting point, it really signals those broader trends, rising incomes, changing lifestyles, embracing convenience. Africa is definitely one to watch.
So what does this all mean? When you put all these regions together, you, the listener, get this really vivid picture. Global habits are shifting, creating opportunities. You've got Europe, mature but still growing, focusing on premium maybe. Then Asia Pacific just booming, driven by millions entering the middle class. North and South America steady. Middle East growing consistently. Africa showing that future potential. It's just this constant worldwide demand for these machines that, make our daily drinks. What stands out most to you when you hear all these numbers laid out? Is it India's speed? Or just the sheer size of the U.S. and China markets? It's clear, though, the whole global coffee and tea makers market is, brewing up a pretty big future. Lots of growth, lots of innovation happening everywhere.
Absolutely. It really speaks to how much we love these drinks and the tech that makes them easy. And it makes you wonder, right? Given all this growth, especially in diverse places like APAC and Europe, what does a coffee and tea maker even look like in, say, 10 years?
Good question.
Yeah, will they all be smart, connected to our phones? Will sustainability become even more critical in how they're made? What new tech or cultural shifts do you think might shape this market? How will our expectations change for that daily brew? Maybe it's about more than just hot water and grounds.
That's a fantastic thought to end on. What is the future of that machine on our countertop?
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the coffee and tea makers market. Keep thinking about it and maybe notice the trends next time you brew a cup. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a fascinating plunge, really getting into the world of global coffee and tea makers. It's a market that's actually way more complex and fast-moving than you might first think. So our mission for this deep dive is to, really unpack what's going on here. We want to look at what's driving all this growth, some of the challenges the industry faces, maybe some unexpected ones, and then the exciting part where it's all heading. And just so you know, all the insights we're sharing today, they come straight from some detailed research by Cognitive Market Research. So we've got a really solid base for this chat.
It really is a fascinating area because, understanding these big global trends, it does more than just explain market stats.
Right.
It can actually shed light on the choices you make, maybe, when you're deciding what machine to put in your kitchen or even what's in the office break room. It shows how what we prefer, taste-wise, connects with technology and even bigger economic shifts. It all kind of intersects in our daily habits.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What's really fueling the demand for these machines? According to the research, what are the main things pushing this forward?
Well, the number one engine really driving things is this huge demand for premium and specialty drinks, the third wave coffee movement.
Yeah.
That whole focus on high-quality beans, artisanal prep.
Yeah, the fancy stuff.
Exactly. But it's not just about taste. What the research shows is that it's actually reshaping how kitchen appliances are designed. People aren't happy with just, basic cup anymore. They want to recreate that really high-quality cafe-style drink right in their own homes.
Ah, okay.
and chasing that gourmet experience. That's directly boosting sales of more advanced machines.
Yep.
We're talking things with built-in grinders, proper steaming capabilities, ways to really customize your brew. Think perfect espresso shots, whisked matcha, those nice herbal infusions, even home-brewed cold brews getting big. Our kitchens are turning into mini cafes, basically.
That's a really good point, how our taste buds are literally changing appliance design. But okay, beyond wanting fancy drinks, what else is pushing the market? What about bigger trends?
Oh, absolutely. Another huge factor is, well, urbanization is accelerating, and also just how busy our lives are getting.
Right, the daily grind.
Exactly. Modern life is hectic, no doubt, and that constant rush, it translates directly into a really big demand for machines that are compact, fast, and highly automated. I mean, just look at things like Keurig and Nespresso. They completely dominate that single-serve market, don't they?
Do. They're everywhere.
Yeah, and their appeal is super clear for like professionals, students, anyone who needs that caffeine, hit fast, easily, and crucially with almost no cleanup. That's why you see them popping up in busy offices, home kitchens, co-working spaces even. They're just the go-to for efficient brewing. It's convenience taken to another level.
Okay, so we want premium drinks, and we need machines that fit into our crazy schedules. I'm wondering, does money play a role? Like rising disposable income, especially maybe in emerging markets, does that connect with adopting new tech?
It certainly does, yeah.
Hmm.
As incomes go up around the world, people are just more willing to invest in, better kitchen technology.
Mm.
And smart coffee and tea makers are a perfect example. These aren't just simple plug-in appliances anymore. They're often integrated with the Internet of Things, connection to your Wi-Fi.
Right.
They offer app control, sometimes even voice assistant compatibility. This really appeals to tech-savvy buyers who value that cutting-edge feel and, well, seamless integration. Plus, you can actually find these devices more easily now, thanks to e-commerce and the big retail chains stocking them. So yeah, it's definitely a mix of tech, income, and just how consumer habits are evolving.
It's really clear how these drivers, that desire for quality, the need for speed and convenience, and the appeal of smart tech, they're all kind of working together, creating this powerful momentum. But, no market is perfect. It can't all be smooth sailing. So strong growth, lots of tailwinds. But are there headwinds? What are the big hurdles these companies are facing?
Well, one of the main constraints, and the research highlights this, is definitely the high initial cost and also the ongoing maintenance for these really premium machines.
Ah, the price tag.
Yeah, if you're eyeing a machine with, say, a built-in grinder, a really precise milk frother, or maybe app-controlled brewing, you're looking at a significant upfront investment. And what's interesting, something the research implies, is that the sort of luxury feel can sometimes mask this longer-term cost commitment. People might not fully realize it until later.
What kind of costs?
Things like needing special filters, or the pods themselves if it's a pod machine. Descaling kits you have to buy regularly, it adds up. And that can absolutely be a barrier for lots of people, especially in markets where consumers are more price sensitive, or maybe in developing regions where those fancy features just aren't as accessible.
That long-term cost is definitely something I hadn't fully considered. And speaking of recurring costs like pods, we have to touch on sustainability, right? Especially with the single-use pods being so popular, it's a known issue, but what's the deeper impact on the companies making them?
Oh, it's a huge challenge for the industry, no question. They're incredibly convenient, those pods, but the non-biodegradable ones. They've faced a lot of criticism for contributing to plastic waste.
Understandably.
Yeah, and environmental groups are quite rightly pushing hard for change. This puts a ton of pressure on manufacturers. Now, companies are exploring greener options. You hear about compostable pods, plant-based packaging, that sort of thing. But often, these eco-friendly innovations cost more to produce, which can then squeeze their profit margins. So it's this really tricky balancing act between keeping consumers happy with convenience and addressing these, very valid environmental concerns.
So they're kind of caught between the green pressure and the cost of changing things up. And then there's another challenge you mentioned, actually getting these machines into certain areas like rural places or lower income regions.
Indeed. Yeah, in many parts of the world, especially where maybe electricity isn't totally reliable or kitchens just don't have the same setup, people still rely heavily on traditional ways of making coffee or tea. For these areas, simply knowing about the newer machines and, maybe even more importantly, being able to afford them, those remain really big barriers to wider adoption. It's not just about wanting the tech, it's about having the basic infrastructure and, frankly, the money to support it.
It really brings up a tough question for all of us, doesn't it? How do we weigh that undeniable convenience against the cost and against the environmental footprint? But okay, let's shift gears and look ahead now. This is where it gets really interesting for me. Given all these challenges, how are brands innovating? What cool trends are brewing up for the future of this market?
Well, first off, we're seeing just an incredible wave of smart and connected appliances. It makes sense, right? As our homes get smarter, our kitchen gadgets follow suit. Coffee and tea makers now commonly come with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, maybe compatibility with Alexa or Google Home,
So you can talk to your coffee maker.
pretty much, or at least control it very precisely. Think about setting your brew schedule the night before from your phone, controlling the exact water temperature, maybe customizing the flavor strength, all through an app. It's this really powerful blend of automation and personalization, and that's becoming a major selling point for people. Imagine waking up and your perfect cup is ready, exactly how you like it, without you even touching the machine.
That does sound appealing, and I guess that smart tech probably links up with another big focus. You mentioned sustainability and making things more eco-friendly. Are we seeing a genuine push there?
Absolutely. Manufacturers are clearly listening to consumers and responding to those environmental challenges we talked about. You see things like more energy-efficient brewing cycles, definite progress on compostable pods, even packaging shifting towards plant-based materials. This trend is really being pushed by younger consumers. Millennials, Gen Z, they're actively looking for more ethical, more responsible options in everything they buy. Brands know they have to adapt. They can't ignore those values.
Okay, and finally, it sounds like things are speeding up on both the commercial side and with new product ideas, really diversifying the whole market. What's happening there?
Yeah, it's kind of a two-pronged thing. On one side, you've got cafes, big corporate offices, those shared workspaces as they expand globally. There's more demand for really sophisticated, high-volume commercial machines.
The professional gear?
Exactly. Think about those sleek machines in coffee shops. They're just getting smarter, more efficient all the time. But then on the other side, for us regular consumers, there's some really cool product innovation happening too, like dual brew systems that can handle coffee and tea in one machine, or built-in cold brew functions, even all-in-one devices trying to simplify the whole process. This kind of diversification, offering different things, helps brands reach a much wider range of people from solo coffee drinker at home all the way up to big commercial operations.
And there we have it. That's quite the journey through the global coffee and tea makers market. We've seen how that specialty coffee culture boom, the integration of smart tech in our kitchens, the real push for eco-friendly designs, and just the sheer speed of innovation are all shaping this space. Hopefully having this understanding helps you navigate your own choices a bit better, but also maybe just appreciate the complexity behind everyday things like your morning brew.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. If we sort of zoom out and connect this to the bigger picture, how might these changes we're seeing in coffee and tea makers, how might they do more than just alter our daily routines? Could they actually influence the wider conversations we're having about sustainability, about smart living, about technology in our homes in the years ahead? It makes you think, doesn't it?
That's a fantastic question to end on. Really makes you think beyond just the appliance itself. It's clear this is about much more than just coffee or tea. It touches on how we live. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time for more insights right here on The Deep Dive.